You might be paying thousands of pounds too much in tax. Now, what circumstance might have created that? Well, Section 24 is definitely a problem for an awful lot of landlords. So I'll explain Section 24 first and how you can avoid it. So buy-to-let and HMO landlords who own properties in their own name can no longer offset their mortgage interest against their rent. So what's the problem with that? Well, let's say the mortgage interest when Section 24 came in was £500 per calendar month, and the rent that you've got coming in is £1,000. What you used to be able to do is offset that £500 mortgage interest against the rent and only declare £500 as income. So this is for landlords who own buy-to-lets and HMOs in their own name. Now, vast majority of landlords that still applies to, right? People who own buy-to-lets and HMOs in their own name and they've got mortgages on them and they used to be able to offset that mortgage interest against the rent, so reduce the amount of income that you need to declare to HMRC and obviously reducing your tax bill. So Section 24 has removed the mortgage interest relief, and so now you're getting £1,000 worth of rent and you have to declare the full £1,000 as income. Now, in recent years, what we've seen is the mortgage interest rate go up to a high amount. So historically, highest it's been for an awful long time. And so the mortgage interest is now an awful lot more, right? So now let's say the mortgage interest is £1,000. The rent's £1,000. In the past, you used to be able to offset that mortgage interest against the rent and therefore not pay tax on the £1,000. Well, guess what? Now the relief is gone. Even though you're not getting £1,000, you are still having to declare £1,000 as income. And it's even worse than that. This artificially inflated income has pushed a lot of people. When it first came in, 600,000 people went from lower rate taxpayers to higher rate taxpayers. And when you become a 40% or a 45% taxpayer, you are now not getting the relief that you used to get when you were a 20% taxpayer. So this is a massive problem for an awful lot of landlords. Now, how do you avoid this problem? Well, this is what I did. Section 24 caused me to move away from buy-to-let and HMO because the vast majority of my properties were owned in my own name. And so I turned those into serviced accommodation. And with serviced accommodation, it becomes a trading business, and a trading business can still offset the mortgage interest against income. So the income goes on a different page of the tax return where there is still a box for the mortgage interest. And now let's say you've got £1,000 worth of pre-tax profit coming in. Well, you can offset that £1,000 worth of mortgage interest against that and therefore not pay, not be taxed due to the Section 24 impact. So that's the answer, guys, is if you are, a lot of people are just selling up. A lot of people got buy-to-lets and HMOs and they've got them in their own name and they're just selling those because they are now not making any money from buy-to-let and HMO because they own them in their own name. Now, instead of selling, what you could actually do is turn it into serviced accommodation. And in my experience, the cash flow as serviced accommodation went from like £150, £200 when it was a buy-to-let to over £1,000. So 5 times the buy-to-let cash flow and not being affected by Section 24. So you could offset all of the mortgage interest against your serviced accommodation income. When I've turned HMOs into serviced accommodation, well, literally the same sort of gig. Okay, I'm cash flowing thousands and thousands of pounds a month from properties that used to be HMOs, and I was literally not cash flowing at all. Now they're serviced accommodation. I cash flow a lot. Now, the reason why it's also really cool is serviced accommodation guests normally turn up with a phone charger, right? Whereas, when these properties were HMOs, guests were using, the tenants previously were using an awful lot of energy. And so I'm paying a lot less now from these properties as serviced accommodation. So that's a really cool thing as well. When you pivot from paying the bills yourself on properties from, say, HMO into serviced accommodation, your energy bills also plummet. So that's really, really cool. So for those of you that have got buy-to-lets and HMOs in your own name, my advice is turn them into serviced accommodation. They don't have to be fancy properties. They can be ordinary properties. Contractors and trades love a bog standard inner city property, right? It doesn't have to be fancy pants. You can still use it as serviced accommodation, but that income is now trading income, and you can offset your mortgage interest against your SA income and pay cash flow a lot more and pay an awful lot less tax. So hopefully you found that interesting. I'm actually running discovery days in the new year, and I'm going to be talking about this in a lot more detail, how you can turn your buy-to-lets and HMOs into serviced accommodation and save an awful lot of tax. If you would like a free ticket to come to one of my discovery days, then type yes in the comments, okay, and I will respond to you with a link so you can actually get 2 free tickets, so you can bring a +1 and come to a discovery day with me. And at the discovery day, I will also give you a copy of my Property Soldier book, my biography, transitioning from being in the army to be a full-time property investor. I'll give you a couple of free guides on how you can make the best use of Booking.com and Airbnb. And also, I'll enter you into a prize draw to get 2. I'll enter you into a prize draw to win a consultation with me, one-to-one consultation, and also entered into a prize draw to win my service accommodation online training, which retails at over £2,000. So that's all for the people that come to my service accommodation discovery day. Got lots of goodies that you will get, and you'll be entered into a prize draw to win other cool stuff as well. So type yes in the comments below if you would like a link to get 2 free tickets to my service accommodation discovery days in the new year, and I will send those to you. So hopefully you found that useful. Let me know what you think about section 24. Let me know what you think about turning the properties into serviced accommodation and whether that is a feasible and viable thing, and I will respond below. So here's to your success in serviced accommodation. Remember guys, your future needs you. Take care.